Welcome back to Bears Talk today. And Mike, we're coming off of another win, another nail biter.
Feels good.
Another win. You know, obviously the Bears won yesterday, 19-17 from another life-saving field goal. We go from 6-3 to 7-3. Sorry, I had to. Early brain rot in the podcast. There's a lot to discuss.
I gotta go. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I had to do it.
Insane. That just moved. I had a whole bit that I was gonna do, and it's just over now.
Bit's out the window now.
But no, like you said, Bears moved to 7-3, winning 7 of their first 10 games.
Yeah.
Including 8 of their last 7 after dropping their first 2. Big turnaround for the season so far with the Bears. And I wanted to provide a quote by a great philosopher that I'm sure you're all aware of, especially people who live in this area of the country. When Chase Claypool said, "Losing, never heard of her."
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when the Bears win 7 and 8 games, it got me feeling some type of way. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to not lose control, and I'm trying to not, go too far ahead of myself.
Yeah.
But the Bears have won games that all throughout my life they've lost.
Mm-hmm.
They have snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, as they did today.
Yeah.
When the Vikings scored, actually they scored 14 in the fourth quarter after scoring 3 in the first 3 quarters. It got testy there for a second. It did. For the first time, it was like the Bears have controlled this game. They've, I wouldn't say dominated the game, but they've been in cruise control for this game.
Mm-hmm. And
all of a sudden, the Vikings take the lead. 9, as they call him, finally learned how to throw a pass to his own player.
Yeah.
And they took the lead, and you're like, man, there was, I think, 52 seconds left. The Bears had a timeout. Not, impossible by any means, but you're okay. Against this Brian Flores defense, you're starting to bite your nails a little bit.
Yeah.
And then immediately, Devin Duvernay runs the kickback, 56 yards. The Bears run the ball a couple of times to get into comfortable field goal range. And then Cairo Santos kicks the game winner. Now, I'm not going to lie, Justin, off his foot, I thought he missed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was too far left.
It looked a little narrow there.
And it didn't make it by much. But all that matters is that it went through those 2 golden arches.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot to talk about in this game and of the Bears' season going forward. But, Justin, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, what were some of your takeaways from this game? What were some of the positives that you take from this game? And what are some things that the Bears need to improve on?
Well, I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy, but I definitely think our second half, really fourth quarter, we have to tighten up, right?
Yeah.
I think, really the theme has been all this season, of us winning close games, of us being able to get a lead for the first half or the first 3 quarters, and then we get into the fourth quarter and we just completely just lose everything that we've done in the first 3 quarters. So I think definitely that's something that I noticed. I felt like you almost have to like pretend like you're down, or have the mindset of like, hey, we got to really close this out because, in football, no lead is safe. I mean, we've seen that from the infamous 28-3 to just games that we've seen over the past couple of years. You have to be able to maintain your lead. And, we got saved again by our glorious kicker, but I think also it would make me feel a little bit better as a Bears fan to say, you know what, we dominated from the first to the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. So I think definitely that's something that I saw. I think one of the bright spots was I really felt like overall, man, a lot of guys were involved yesterday. I feel like for me, there were a couple of drops which kind of hurt us in a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb was pressured. He got 2 sacks on the night. It really felt like our O-line wasn't great. I mean,
he escaped a lot of sacks too.
Yeah, he escaped a lot of sacks. I felt like as well, as much as we slander Cole Kmet,
he was our leading receiver yesterday.
He was the leading receiver, right? So I think definitely the downside is, be able to. The downside is we got to tighten up on our defense, especially in the last third and fourth quarter. Upside was it was good seeing pretty much. If you look at the stat sheet, I mean, a lot of different guys got involved, or at least they were at least getting those targets. So I think it was just good seeing that.
Yeah, I have actually a lot of pluses for the Bears.
Yeah.
A few negatives as well, obviously, but Bears led against the Vikings. They out-yardaged them. They had 320 to the Vikings 265. The Vikings committed 2 turnovers. The Bears committed 0. Bears had 19 first downs. Vikings had 15. Penalties, Vikings only had 2. They were better there. But the Bears were 7 of 18 on third down. Vikings were only 3 of 11. In the red zone, we were pretty much the same. But the time of possession, Justin, Bears possessed the ball for 37 minutes of this game.
Yeah.
And it did feel like the Bears had the ball almost the entire game. And that's basically, it's basically 2/3 of the time that the Bears had the ball. To keep your defense off the field, to keep the Vikings offense off the field, and to sustain drives the way they've done and the way they've done in previous games as well is a very, very encouraging thing for me. This is Ben Johnson's philosophy, taking shape.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift had a nice game. He had 90 rushing yards. This was very much all right, we're not going to have, these explosive big plays where there's a gap in the coverage. This is a very well-coached Vikings defense. We're just going to grind it. We're going to keep going and going. And then finally, the Bears were able to, do enough to win this game. This was I said this. We both said this before the game. We said this is not going to be a game where the Bears score like 40.
No.
This was going to be a grinded out type of game. It's a divisional game. It's on the road.
Yeah.
And the Bears' resiliency was the key in this one. Right.
It was.
You got punched late in the game, came back, counter punch, go win the game. I'd also be remiss not to mention that one of the big reasons the Bears won this game is because J.J. McCarthy, or nine as they say, put on one of the worst displays of quarterbacking I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And no disrespect. I know I'm just a guy at a desk on a podcast talking, right? What have I done? But it was pretty laughable how many passes he was missing in the first half of that game.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson looked like he was going to throw his helmet into the third deck of the seats. It was the Vikings offense was not exactly clicking on all cylinders, and the Bears, to their credit, took the ball away twice.
Yeah.
Kevin Byard got an interception. Nashawn Wright got an interception. He did it, in honor of his coach Beam, who passed away this weekend, unfortunately. Almost threw a third interception. Should have been a third interception if Tyreek Stevenson and I believe Brisker didn't collide with each other.
Yeah.
Bears defense, are they a great unit? No, but we've said it all year. They are opportunistic. They will take the ball away. They'll give the offense extra possessions. So I'm encouraged by that. And again, it's kind of been the theme all year. Was this a dominant win? Was this a sexy win? Was this a win where we light up the scoreboard? No, it wasn't. But was this a resilient win where the Bears showed that they are a winning football team, a well-coached football team? They're good under pressure. They're good late in the fourth quarter. They make the clutch plays? Yeah,
Yes.
It was. And that's been, at least 4 of our victories so far that I can count just off the dome. So I'm very glad to see that, again, this is a game throughout my lifetime that the Bears lose. And it seems like it's a new dawn. It's a new day. Not to quote Michael Bublé, bars. But it's a new day in Chicago.
It is, yeah. And I just want to say something really quick because I've noticed the trend here on social media of the Bears aren't winning. They've gotten lucky. They've won a bunch of close games. They haven't really blown out teams. All their teams have been easy. Well, this is a any given Sunday league. A win is a win. And all of you other salty fans out there who want us to blow out by 40, that's not our philosophy. We win games. So I don't know what you want to say. We're not frauds. I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't expect us to be first in the division right now, but we are. So you know what? All of you haters out there, you just keep watching. Just keep watching us do our thing, and have a quarterback that's going to beat you a fingernail polish on. That's all I got.
Well,
to
you
say.
see, he walked into the game, Justin, and he was matching his nails with his matcha.
Yeah.
That's my guy. That's my guy right there. I love Caleb Williams. You mentioned the fact that we are now first in the division.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
There's a lot, I think, to unpack with that.
There is.
Yeah, but the fact is, I mean, they're 7-3. They deserve to be the number 1 seed in the North right now.
Yeah.
The Lions just got absolutely embarrassed last night
did.
against the Eagles. That was quite embarrassing. And am I convinced that the Bears are first in the division come season's end? Maybe not. However, and I'm not even saying this to be disrespectful or to be a contrarian. I don't even think that that's the goal in year one. I said the goal.
Yeah.
I didn't think when we talked about, hey, what are our expectations for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and the Dennis Allen and the defense, the goal was never you have to win the division this year. The goal was become a much better team and make the playoffs. We said 9 or 10 wins. They have 7 in their first 10, right? If the Bears do win their division, that far exceeds any expectation I set for them this year.
Yeah.
And that means that they are ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
To be clear, right now they're still ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
So again, don't take it as the Bears aren't good enough to win their division. What I'm saying is that this is a team that's ahead of schedule.
It is.
They are still doing good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Detroit might figure it out. I'm still not convinced Green Bay is going to go away. Honestly, the Vikings might be too far gone at this point. They're 4-6.
Yeah.
So we have a 3-game lead on them. We've also split with them. So they would have to overcome 3 games. But with the way J.J. McCarthy played yesterday, I don't see them being a threat this year. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just an atrocious offensive performance yesterday from him. From 9.
Yeah, from 9, indeed. And Mike, I want to ask you. I know obviously we talked about JJ's performance, but how do you feel like Caleb did? Performance-wise. I mean, one of the biggest stat lines for me that I noticed is they had the same completion percentage, but obviously Caleb looked a lot better.
Yeah, Caleb definitely outperformed JJ for sure. I don't think he had one of his better games. I don't think that this was he's lighting it up like he did against Dallas or Jacksonville last year or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll say a couple important things that I noticed with Caleb, and these were truly some of the big keys to victory yesterday. Did not turn the ball over.
Yep.
0 interceptions. JJ had 2 interceptions. Didn't fumble the ball. Only got sacked twice. Now, obviously getting sacked twice isn't phenomenal. However, with the amount of times that he could have been sacked, probably could have been like 7 or 8. Okay, this guy avoided so many pressures in this game. He avoided so many sacks. He turned negative plays into what I would call like neutral plays, where a lot of times he didn't necessarily. Again, this Vikings defense is really hard to hit big plays. I wouldn't necessarily say he like spun out of a tackle, launched the ball downfield, and then found Rome. That's not really what happened. What happened was he avoided pressure and dumped the ball down. He avoided pressure and he threw the ball away, turning what would have been a negative 8-yard play into a 2 or 3 yard gain, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to light up the stat sheet, but those plays are, that's a 10-yard difference essentially, right? So I thought he did those 2 things very, very well yesterday, and those 2 things contributed greatly to our victory. Again, 50% completion percentage, less than 200 yards, not, he's not lining up the scoreboard.
No.
This is a really good Vikings defense. He did make mistakes. He avoided negative plays as much as he could have. I give him a B just for that. I think that he did a lot of things. We saw last night with Jared Goff. Jared Goff was unable to avoid a lot of the pressure that Philly had, and as a result, Philly was dominating that game. They held him to 6 points. So to have a guy like Caleb who can extend plays, who can create out of the pocket, I think was huge yesterday. And like I said, not turning the ball over was massive.
Yeah, I just think when you look at Caleb, when you look at, I think when you're having a quarterback who is still developing and growing, you're going to have somebody who will not have the flashiest of games, but will still make an impact, right? I think the ideology of what Ben Johnson wants us to do is to have I feel like he's more of a run-focused, type of coach, but he still wants to use his quarterback, and he knows his quarterback is he's not an average starter. He's your franchise QB. So there will be a lot of times when we'll have more impactful games from him, and other times he might just make 1 or 2 really big plays in the game, and the rest are just they're just okay, or they're expected. So I thought Caleb did okay today. I didn't think it was lights out. Obviously, he performed way better than JJ did, but hey, I can't complain.
Yeah, and you talk about wanting to run the football. Bears threw the ball 32 times. They ran the ball 39. Now, a couple of those were scrambles. A couple of those were just Caleb kind of riffing.
Yeah.
But it is very clear to me, and like you said, the Bears want to be a balanced football team.
They do.
They are not going to abandon the run. They are not going to just have Caleb drop back and throw it 40, 50 times.
Yeah.
And, when you do that, that's when you get a guy who's going to throw multiple interceptions in a game, especially with the way that the Vikings defense likes to send pressure. Like, Caleb was going to get hit hard.
Yeah.
He was going to fumble. He was going to throw, and that's not the formula that the Bears play. And, you can take that as a diss against Caleb. That's just smart coaching.
It is.
That's just smart coaching, especially when you're having, like I said, a defense that's so opportunistic like Minnesota's. Run the ball. The Bears ran the ball well. They had 140 yards rushing. That's a solid day. Keep the chains moving. Keep the possession time, everything like that. So, again, flashy, over the top, no. It's winning football. And that's what the Bears have learned how to do this year. They've learned how to win football games.
Yeah.
So, It's just very, very encouraging for me. Justin, if we're done talking about this game, I have one more thing to ask you.
Go ahead.
What's 9 times 2?
18.
18. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Bears are now 7-3. They are 4-2 on the road. Justin, after a big divisional win in Minnesota, what is your confidence now going into the rest of the season that we can make it the playoffs, make the big dance, if you will?
No, I think definitely when you looked at week 1 and you looked at everyone being healthy and, you know, this, I'm not going to lie, this season looked like it was a tough hill to climb. It looked like it was a season where we were just going to be maybe 3rd or 4th in the division, but obviously key players come out, injuries happen, teams aren't as good as we thought they were, and it opens
Packers, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it opens up it opens up an opportunity for other teams, aka us. So I think when you look at the rest of this schedule, obviously we're going to talk a little bit later about our next game against the Steelers. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers has that wrist injury. I think that's a winnable game. I'll just say that now. When you look, I think when you look at the rest of this season, I at least see, let's see here, 1, 2, 3. I would say we would at least need to get, a win against the Steelers, a win against, I would love for both Packers and Browns. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. Once we get to next week and it's the Eagles, I listen. I love this.
To be fair, if we're really getting delirious for a second,
yeah,
they haven't looked as good this year. They're 8-2. I know they're 8-2, and their defense just dominated Detroit. But their offense, they got some drama in paradise.
They do.
AJ Brown's going to be on another Twitch stream next week talking about how he doesn't get the ball.
Yep.
Not playing in fantasy. There's just, they're good. But maybe.
So, we may win, we may not win. But I at least seeing us getting one against the Browns. They're horrible. I love Shador, and I feel like I know we're not Browns people, but
that's not really.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of threw him in there and let him against the Wolves.
Yeah.
It was just not a great timing. So I'm hoping that he is able to get more reps with his team, and we can see him develop. That's all I want. But yeah, I see us winning against the Browns. I would love to see us get one against the Packers. We faced them 2 times in 3 weeks, which is crazy. 49ers are a wild card because they've been kind of weird all season with injury and stuff like that. And then obviously our season finale against the Lions. I say, as much as I would love to say we'll win that one, I don't know, just because especially depending on seeding, if they get the first seed or second seed, they may be resting players in Week 18. But I say, from looking at our schedule now, I feel very confident, at least to be in the top 6, to be a wild card, or top 3 or 4, or to be a wild card.
Yeah.
Just because I know people are going to crap on us on not having these dominant wins, but when you're down in the 4th quarter in a close game in the end of the regular season, you're going to have that instilled confidence to be like, you know what, I can go out there and win a game.
Yeah.
I can go out there and win a game despite if I'm down 15, 20, 30, hopefully not. But, I think that really insinuates an offense to be like, you know what, doesn't matter as long as we get it's almost like the Patrick Mahomes overtime rule that they had to change, right?
Yeah.
It's like we all know when Patrick Mahomes gets into overtime,
they're going to win the game.
They're going to win the game, right?
Yep.
And that's the same effect that's happening with our team. And I think, that as a fan, that I'm not going to lie, week 1, I did not see that that confidence coming or even instilled in this team, but I love it. I'm going to ride the wave.
Yeah, and I'll say a couple of things. But first off, I want to say, so when I was watching the game yesterday, and the Vikings scored with, 52, 53 seconds, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was watching the game. He texted me, and he was like, oh, man, here go the Bears again. They're going to lose. They blew it. And for the first time in a long time, I just had this moment where I was like, no, the Bears got this.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I said Caleb had it, and Caleb really didn't have to do anything. But I felt a confidence that, no, in a late game situation, game on the line, the Bears are going to get it done.
Yeah.
And I texted that to him, and he was like, no way. Da, da, da. And then they did it, and they won.
Done. Yeah.
And it's such a relieving breath of fresh air. Now, back to the playoffs for a second. I think that Vikings game yesterday was huge.
Yeah, we had to get a win against our divisional, opponent.
You go from being now 7-3. Had we lost, we'd be 6-4.
Yeah.
And we've said all year, Justin, that you probably have to win 10 games to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that number's down to 3 for us.
Yeah.
Okay, it would have been down to 4 with a bad divisional record, 0-3 divisional record.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the Bears can't win 3 of the Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Browns, Niners, Lions.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this: Browns is an automatic win.
It should be, yeah.
Fire everybody in the building, cut all of the players
Yes.
if the Bears don't beat the Browns at home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's 8.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll talk about the Steelers more in depth. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, that should also be an automatic win, especially at home.
Yeah.
So that's 9. My question to you, Justin, is can the Bears win one of Philly, Green Bay, Niners, Lions? You got to win one of those 5.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Preferably against the Packers, or one against the Niners, because those are teams that are going to be competing against us for those playoff spots.
Of course, yeah.
But I think the Bears can win one of those games.
I think they can too. I think when you look at the Packers, you said it. They're not
clicking on all cylinders right now. And I know Tucker Kraft being out is horrible, and he's obviously a big addition to their team.
Mm-hmm.
But something's wrong in Green Bay right now. Something's wrong. They've lost to the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
They've lost to the Browns. They had another bad game a couple of weeks ago, which I'm blanking on. They tied the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And for majority of the game, it looked like they could lose to the Jameis Winston-led Giants.
Yeah, right.
What is going on?
I don't know. And if you look at their next week's schedule, they played the Vikings. Now, I know what you're saying. We just beat them, right? But I think when you look at a team like the Vikings, their coaching is elite. Think about it. We almost lost to them yesterday because of it, right? And I think when you're fighting for a playoff spot like they will be, they are going to be as aggressive as they were towards Jordan Love, as they were towards Caleb Williams yesterday. And I just think the Vikings, if I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I would
go bounce back in Minnesota.
Yeah, I think the Vikings will beat the Packers next week. I'm not Packers talk or whatever, but I just don't. I don't know. Like we were saying before, right? They're so inconsistent with their offense and just with Jordan Love itself that I just don't think they'll. I don't know. They're a wild card for sure, but yeah.
I think the Packers at their best are a team that could win the Super Bowl. But the problem is they don't play up to their potential most weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So the Packers are very interesting. I think that in an ideal situation for the Bears going forward, you beat the Browns, you beat the Steelers, okay? Mm-hmm. You split with Green Bay.
Yeah, you got to win with those.
Win the one at home, right? Maybe winning in Green Bay is too much. Playing in Lambeau, and I also like how they made both of those games in December because they know it's going to be cold.
Mm-hmm.
They know it's going to be cold in Chicago and Lambeau for both of those games.
Yep.
Split with Green Bay, and then you put yourself in a great spot. All you have to say is then maybe you win one against the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you win one against San Fran. Maybe you surprise the Eagles on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Who knows? The Bears now have put themselves in an excellent position to make the playoffs.
They have.
Last week we talked about the Bears having a 44% chance to make the playoffs.
Yep.
I checked today, it's at 58%.
Wow.
Which seems low for a team that is the 3rd seed in the NFC right now, but it's pretty appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
We're basically at a 60% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So again, the plan is take care of business against the Steelers with maybe Aaron Rodgers, maybe not. At the time, we're recording this on Monday at 4 o'clock. There's no definitive answer either way, and we'll talk more about that in a second. Even if it is Aaron Rodgers. And you know what? I'm going to say this to camera. I hope Aaron Rodgers plays. I hope Aaron Rodgers brings his old butt into Soldier Field and they kick his butt for 3.5 hours. Okay? I want to see like Georgia Tech in that one college game when they won 222-0. Okay? I want 15 years of anguish and pain and agony that Aaron Rodgers has put on the Chicago Bears franchise. I want them to take it out this Sunday. You understand me? I want to win this game so bad that Aaron Rodgers retires and DK Metcalf quits. Okay? I want you to make the Pittsburgh Steelers into the Pittsburgh – I don't know. I went too far. I don't know where I was going. Anyways, I'm not allowed to cuss on TV. But the point is it'll be very therapeutic on Sunday.
Yeah.
I want I want Aaron Rodgers to play.
Mike wants to smoke.
I want the smoke. And if Rodgers doesn't play, that means he's ducking the smoke. What do you mean you got a left wrist injury? You throw with your right hand, buddy. I don't know if you figured that out yet. So, sorry, I despise this man.
No,
and
I get it.
I want the Bears so badly to beat him. Not the Steelers.
Yeah.
Not even the Steelers. Him. So, what an excellent transition.
Yeah. No, let's jump into it. So obviously, we're going into Week 12 at home against the Steelers. Now, Mike just talked about it. That's the biggest question of all, right? Will Aaron Rodgers be healthy next Sunday? Currently, right now, he has a left wrist injury that he got against the Bengals. So we don't know. Obviously, we're recording this on Monday. We'll see what a couple of days does. Adam Schefter is going to be glued to my phone as I hopefully don't see that he's active. But I think
I want the smoke. Bring it on.
Yes.
Bring it.
Yeah, but I think besides Aaron Rodgers, Mike, that's going to be the talk of the town. What are some other key matchups that you see that the Bears will need to take care of for this game?
Well, the biggest matchup for me is the Steelers' defensive line. Death tags in the Steelers having a good pass rush. That's been the key. And that's been the only guarantees in our life, right? T.J. Watt is still really good. Cam Hayward, obviously they got Alex Highsmith. They have a very good pass rush, and it is going to be key. And I mentioned this in the Vikings game, more so from a schematic communication standpoint on making sure we dot all of our I's across all of our T's in pass protection. But I think the Steelers have much better personnel than the Vikings do. So sack avoidance, making sure we're negating those negative plays is going to be huge. Obviously, we always want to win the turnover battle. But for the Steelers, I think that their defensive backfield is very thin right now.
Yeah,
they've had some injuries on the back end, so I would like to see the Bears take advantage of that. I'd like to see them hit a couple chunk plays to Rome. I'd like to see maybe Luther Burden have a big play or two. So I think that some chunk plays, finding the right balance between hitting those big plays and avoiding the negative ones, I think is going to be the key against the Steelers. Specifically, their defensive line is what worries me the most.
Yeah, I think for me, when you look at the matchups and, when you look at, the tail of the tape, an old friend of yours, DK Metcalf, got traded to the Steelers last season, right?
He did,
right? So, and it's funny because I'm looking at the ESPN, the stat line, the matchup. Rome's actually outdoing him just by a little bit. Metcalf has 37 receptions and 5 touchdowns. Rome has 39 receptions, 6 touchdowns. So,
take it, DK.
So you're really seeing the growth of Rome, but also on the Steelers' offensive end, you have to look out for that. It looks like their running back Warren he's listed as questionable right now.
Yeah,
but definitely making sure that we take care of him. But as you said, I think definitely when you look at, wow, there's a lot of guys on the Steelers injury list.
Yeah.
Jalen Warren has questionable, Highsmith questionable, and they all got questionable this week. So we'll see. I think some of the players that are on Darius Slay, I know he's been kind of mid these past couple of seasons.
Probably putting it nicely,
yeah. Yeah. But I think when you look at a team like this, they could be really, really good or really, really bad. But I think, the biggest thing is, like you said, avoiding that pass rush, right? Can our offensive line not slip up and have Caleb be pressured like he was last game? I think Caleb is getting better at avoiding sacks and, kind of moving around in the pocket. But we also know sometimes he can make mistakes, or sometimes he can overthrow the ball and it could be an interception or whatever. So I think when you look at this game, when you look at the matchups, we have to make sure that we can protect the pass rush that will be coming at us.
Yeah. You talked about DK, and unfortunately for the Steelers, despite giving up a second-round pick and $150 million, he has not been a huge threat this year for them. No. He has one game with 100 yards, doesn't have a single game in which he's caught more than five passes. DK, I don't want to say he's been a non-factor because that'd be unfair.
Yeah.
But he has not been a game-changing, game plan altering type of receiver that they were hoping.
Absolutely not. No.
And to me, we took a guy like Justin Jefferson last week who only had 60 yards. Obviously, there were some issues with the passing game, like we mentioned with 9. But especially if the Steelers are trotting out Mason Rudolph on Sunday, it's going to be really tough, I think, for the Steelers to make him a huge, vital part of the game plan, especially if Jalen Warren is out.
Yeah.
So the Steelers, I think, are really running thin on quality, dependable playmakers on offense. Add to that, you have a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Add to that, it's a game on the road. This is not an ideal game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And obviously, you mentioned Highsmith. What's Highsmith's injury? I didn't realize he had an injury.
I think they were saying
Sorry to
ankle.
put you on the spot. Ankle?
No, it's okay. Yeah, ankle.
Ankle? Yeah, I mean that's not a great injury for a pass rusher to have. So it'll be interesting for the Steelers. Like I said, don't give them the game. Don't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Don't get sacked a bunch of times. I think if you play the way you play, the Steelers will be a manageable opponent. I think is probably the best, most respectful way I can put that. I just now actually put together the fact that we have back-to-back games against teams in Pennsylvania because the Bears do play on Black Friday, which I don't really know how I feel about the Black Friday games.
Yeah, I feel like that's a marketing grab.
Yeah, they're trying to do too much. Like I know, like you've seen like those ads on Amazon, like it's like who cares about like Thanksgiving? You're sitting with your family, you're eating. You're with everybody. You get to yell at the TV and throw expletives out there when the Bears lose for the 100th year in a row.
Yeah.
But like Black Friday, it's like you guys are gonna be scrolling on Amazon throughout the game, which I guess is what they want. But who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the Eagles next week, but yeah, the Steelers. I don't know. I think I don't want to say I'm not worried about them. They're a quality team. I don't necessarily think they're a playoff team. But I hope Aaron Rodgers plays again. Right now, we just don't know. He's questionable. So is Highsmith. So is Warren. But I don't know. What about you, Justin? What do you think some of the big keys in this one are going to be?
Yeah, I think definitely, despite the pass rush is going to be a big one. I think definitely, I'm not giving any credit to Mason Rudolph, but I think definitely making sure that we keep the same level of energy on defense. I don't care if it was Mason Rudolph, Patrick Mahomes, whoever, Tom Brady, who cares, right? We need to make sure that our pass rush is consistent, that we're able to pressure the quarterback, that we're able to frustrate Mason Rudolph for him to throw a couple of interceptions. I think our defense really, really, really has to be able to contain whoever's out there, right? Because we just named the injury reserve, and it's like this long of a list. So we don't know who's going to play next Sunday, but we have to have the any given Sunday attitude of we don't care who's playing next Sunday. We got to make sure we still do our job on the defense, and we actually have to. I would love to challenge the Bears to win by 2 touchdowns. I think that'd be a.
They're favored by 3, so that would be quite the jump from the Vegas line.
Yeah, right. And honestly, though, like, even if we win this game, and even if Aaron Rodgers and the whole injury list we just said was healthy, people are still going to hate. Well, the Steelers aren't that good. So it's like, I think, honestly, which I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit. No, I literally read like an hour worth of tweets last night about, the Bears are lucky. The Bears aren't that good. I'm like, we're 7-3, bro. Like, what do you want us to do? Yeah. I think if we go to Philly and we beat them, even if it's a close game, and they don't really, they're not the best. They're not the, I wouldn't even say they're the same Eagles team that we beat. I mean, not that we beat, but that when you today, Junior, I can't get my words out.
No, it's all right.
This is not the same Super Bowl team that we saw last year. No. I feel like this is a little bit of they're still good, but this is not the same one that we saw dominate the Chiefs. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, I think that if we go into is it Lincoln?
Lincoln Financial, yep.
If we go into Lincoln
the
Link. Yeah, if we go into the Link and we beat these guys, even if it's a close game.
I don't care if the Bears win 5-3. I don't care. I don't care what the score. You beat the Eagles.
For sure.
You beat the Eagles in Philly. I'm going to start talking dangerous. I'm not going to lie. I will also say one thing that I read online this week. Yeah. Well, I didn't find it out this week, but people were putting it together this week. Do you think it's a coincidence, Justin, that the Bears are having one of their best seasons in recent memory? They're winning all of these games that they normally lost. Seems like they finally have a coach. They finally have a quarterback.
Yeah.
All of this happens after a Bears fan becomes the Pope.
Yeah, I saw that.
Do we think
tweet.
this is a coincidence?
Oh, you know.
I don't know.
I would say so.
I don't know. I don't know.
You know, the Pope is sending some prayers to the man upstairs, and he's working out some deals now. So I think from Chicago,
the Cowboys might be America's team, but maybe the Bears are God's team.
Could be.
Maybe.
But I will say this. He's going to have to start doing the same for the White Sox because, good Lord, they're going to need.
Well, I know he's the White Sox fan, but we'll focus on the Cubs.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
It does break my heart that he hates the Cubs.
Yeah. He needs to do the same magic for them, but yeah.
Last thing, we have to end this off, and I'd like to brag and say that I am 10-0 on the year on our win and loss predictions.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it 11 in a row.
Okay.
Justin, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Sure, I'll start. I think the Steelers are not going to win. I almost did the same mistake I did last season. I think the Bears are going to win.
I think the Vikings are going to win.
I felt it come out my mouth, dude. I think overall, though, I think the Bears are going to win this one closely. I think it's going to be probably a touchdown game, so maybe like a 24-20. I think definitely if – you know what? Doesn't matter who comes in the Soldier Field on Sunday. They're going to win by – I'm going to say 24-20. I think it'd be a close one, but
so you're still predicting a somewhat nail-biting game. Because I'll come out and say it: if Aaron Rodgers plays, Bears are winning this game 150-0. No, I'm just kidding. I think I'm going to even just say I think Rodgers plays.
Yeah.
And I think the ownership of the Bears has expired. I think that warranty not getting renewed on Sunday.
Wow.
Give me the Bears 28-17.
Okay. Wow.
Bears. We're moving to 8-3.
He's going to a big lead today. I see you. Okay. All right, man.
So you're sticking with 24-20?
We'll do 27-20.
27-20? All right. Justin, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Bears Talk.
Yep.
I mean, it just feels so good to be 7-3. Last year at this time we were 0-180.
Yeah,
so
we were horrible. We were asking everyone to be fired at that rate.
This is proof that dreams do come true, kids.
It does, yeah.
So eat your vegetables, stay in school, and root for the Bears.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
That's all I got to say.
See you guys.
See you next time.